Hi, Third Land. I want to read a little bit more of the Think Fair Trade First book today, maybe 4 or 5 pages, and we'll add to our sketch notes. And after that, you'll just make a choice for your reading workshop. Maybe it's working on your lit book, or maybe it's making some choices. We'll just do one round today. So if you have your sketch notes from the other day, we'll continue with the book. Let me get my camera all set. Let's see if I got it right. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Here we go. All right, let's go over what we talked about yesterday. The Fair Trade book has talked first about supply chains, how the person makes the product. There's a lot of links that happen until the product gets to who buys the product. And we did a little bit of a clothing hunt yesterday, and we saw all these different countries from all over the world where our clothes were made. So it's interesting to think how many links were in that supply chain to get a t-shirt or a sweater all the way from one country to us here in Bloomington. So we're going to talk today about these two kids. They go to this store called the Fair Trade Store. And we have a Fair Trade Store here in Bloomington on the square, the Global Village. I buy gifts there all the time. And you've probably been in there before. That's where I bought this book, actually. So here we go. The Fair Trade Store was different from any store that Stella and Henry had ever seen. It was full of beautiful things from all over the world. They saw teapots from Vietnam, instruments from Cameroon, chimes from the Philippines, and baskets from Bangladesh. Stella and Henry started looking around for the perfect present for their mother. And it says here the 8 principles of fair trade are creating jobs for people who aren't usually hired, caring for the environment, capacity building, paying a fair price, giving women and girls the same opportunities as men and boys, building sustainable long-term relationships, supporting good working conditions, educating people about fair trade, and encouraging them to get involved. Let's look at each principle more closely. So we won't write any of them down yet, but before we turn the page, I'm looking for the ladybug. Anyone see it? Wait a minute, there it is. Okay, here we go. Stella picked up a woven bag. Aunt Mabel, she said, remember how you told us that good things happen when people buy things from fair trade stores? Yes, said Aunt Mabel. Well, what good thing will happen if I buy this purse? Aunt Mabel looked at the purse Stella was holding. This purse is made by people in India who have a disease called leprosy. Many people with this disease become crippled and can't find work. Fair trade organizations employ people with leprosy and other diseases so they can have better lives. When you buy this purse, people who have trouble being hired get jobs. Hey, June. We're being interrupted by June. Let's see if I can get her on the screen. June. 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 Come here, baby. Want to say hi to the kids? Say hi, Third Land. Hope you're not working too hard. Yeah, you're a good dog. I'm not used to having a dog, you guys, but this one's a good one. She's fun. She's not easy to walk, though, I'm telling you that. Okay, back to work, Lee. Let's get focused here. Click, 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 click. Down we go. And we're going to put this in our sketch notes, creating jobs for people who aren't usually hired. In many countries, people who have physical and mental disabilities, those who aren't educated, and women have a very hard time getting a job. Fair trade organizations often hire these people so they can have better lives. Fair trade fact: over 7.5 million disadvantaged producers, people that make the stuff, and their families are benefiting from fair trade. So we got to put our principles. We got 8 principles. So I'm going to think of my paper down here in 8 different sections. And the first one we want to write is creating jobs. Can you hear Quinn playing bass? My house is very different now. Creating jobs for people who aren't always hired. People with disabilities, women in some countries, creating jobs for people aren't usually hired. I might not have room for all 8, so I might go on to another page. So I think that fact is important. 7.5 million disadvantaged producers and their families. We're not sure exactly what they mean by disadvantage, so I'm not going to add that. Well, I didn't really expect to be interrupted by June. We'll just do one more page. Caring for the environment. So I'm going to write caring for the environment here. Now, how would a company care for the environment? Let's read more about that. So we have 2 principles. How about this? Asked Henry. Aunt Mabel looked at the piece of jewelry in his hand. This necklace is made in Kenya, she said. The beads are made of recycled magazines. Fair trade artists use earth-friendly practices in their products. When you buy this and other fair trade products, you help the planet because recycling cuts down on pollution, keeps water cleaner, and helps preserve natural resources. See the bug? Caring for the environment. Fair trade products are made and shipped in ways that don't hurt the earth. Using recycled materials, replanting trees to replace wood that is used, and using organically grown and biodegradable packing materials are common fair trade practices. They want us to remember that more than 1 billion people have no access to clean water. So the environment's pretty important. So maybe they'll use recycled materials. I hear something happening in my kitchen. That's the thing about having pets visiting. I'll hear strange noises and then I find out something's happening. All right, we're going to wrap it up there today. So we have 2 principles of fair trade: caring for the environment and creating jobs for people who aren't usually hired. And I'm going to put people with disabilities here. And then I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to see what's happening in the other room with that dog and that cat. All right, and I'm going to put my notes right in here so tomorrow I know exactly where we stopped. Bye, guys. You're awesome.